Welcome back to another video, everyone. Sorry it's been a long time coming, but we're back. Now we'll do the book of Exodus today. Exodus is the second book of the Bible, and it's about the Israelites leaving Egypt to go to their new land. Now Exodus picks up around 46 years after where we left off in Genesis. Joseph had died, and his family and his children had settled down in Egypt. Well, years had passed, and things got tough for the children of Israel. They were now a large group, a nation even, living in Egypt. But Pharaoh, a ruler who didn't believe in Joseph's God, kept the nation in captivity and made them work for him. Not only this, but to stop the nation from outnumbering the Egyptians, he had every Hebrew baby boy killed. Innocent babies were killed back then, and not a lot has changed. One woman called Jochebed, wanting to save her baby, hid him in a basket in the river Nile. Pharaoh's own daughter found him and had compassion for him. She drew him out of the water and called him Moses, meaning just that. Moses grew in the palace as royalty and decided to believe the God of his people, the Israelites. One day, Moses saw an Egyptian beating up an Israelite slave, and out of anger, Moses kills the Egyptian and hides the body. He runs away to escape punishment and leaves Egypt. While away, Moses marries and has children and starts a new life as a shepherd. But God calls him one day out of a burning bush. God tells Moses that it is his job to help the Israelites leave Egypt and travel to a new land that God would give them. At first, Moses doesn't want to and makes excuses, but eventually, after seeing signs from God, he travels back to Egypt and meets with his brother Aaron. Moses is a suitable man for the job because he was linked to both the Israelites and the Egyptians. They go to Pharaoh to try to convince him to let his people go. However, Pharaoh refused. Because of Pharaoh's stubbornness, God had to send 10 plagues upon Egypt. Pharaoh had chance after chance after chance, and God showed how patient he was. But ultimately, the answer always came back as no. Each plague passed. The last one was the worst of all. In the 10th plague, God sent a death plague around Egypt to take the life of the firstborn from every family. But God did provide a way that people could avoid this judgment. He told each house to take the best lamb that they had, a perfect lamb, and to kill it. They were to roast it and eat it with unleavened bread, it was to be a fast meal, and bitter herbs to remind them of the slavery that they had faced for years. They were to take the lamb's blood and put it on the door frame of the house. God said that when the plague came to that door, the blood would be a sign to God that a death had already taken place inside, and that the people had obeyed God. He would then pass over that door and protect it, and the firstborn would live. Many houses lost a member that sad night because they didn't do what God had asked, including Pharaoh. His own son died. This is almost a punishment for what the nation of Egypt had done years before in killing the Israelite children. God hadn't forgotten that. This was the last straw, and Pharaoh finally let the Israelites leave. They were free. However, he soon changed his mind and sent an army after them, but God helped his people get through a sea by parting it. The Israelites passed through to the other side, and when the Egyptians tried to follow, the waters came crashing down on top of them. Evil ultimately will perish. You'd think that the nation of Israel would forever feel indebted to God for all that he had done for them, but the next chapters of Exodus explain how the people fail over and over again. So much so that it takes them a lot longer to get to the promised land than it really should have. 40 years in fact. God sends Moses up a mountain for a few days and gives him the law. 10 basic commandments carved in stone. How to treat God and how to treat other people. However, while Moses was away, his brother Aaron and the rest of the nation were up to no good. Thinking God had left them, a ridiculous notion, they decided to make an idol instead, a calf made out of gold. Needless to say, Moses was furious and smashed the 10 Commandments in the ground. The people had already broken them. When the nation repents, God forgives and gives the 10 Commandments again. God had also given Moses plans and instructions on building a building called the tabernacle, which means tent. This tabernacle was to be a mobile and temporary place, because the Israelites were a nation on the move. The purpose of the tabernacle was for God to dwell with his people. We'll have a look at the contents and the construction of the tabernacle in another video, perhaps Leviticus, as it speaks about the Lord Jesus Christ in many ways. Lord willing, the next video that you'll see from me will be Christ in Exodus. Thanks very much for watching this video. See you next time, and every blessing.